Hey there YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and change out this faucet that's on the wall with the new one today. And the one I've got here is a Glacier Bay kitchen faucet wall mount. I'm hoping this works without any problems and I'm able to install it quickly. It should be a fairly easy job. All I have to do is remove these two nuts here, pull this one out, put the new one in place, and we should be good to go. So one reason I would like to get rid of this one, it's not that it's because it's old. Normally these sort of faucets, they're pretty easy to service. You just have to replace a few O-rings, and if it's leaking, it'll stop leaking. So it's not a big deal. It's just that it's ugly, and also I would like to kind of get this whole area kind of cleaned up and looking nice. So that's the main reason I like to remove this faucet. Another one is the amount of space we've got. Sometimes we're washing something large here and the faucet gets in the way because it's so low to the sink here. This one that I've got is sort of it goes all the way to the top and then bends over like this, so it gives us quite a bit more clearance to work on things in here that are a little bit larger. One thing to be aware of when working on a wall faucet like this one is they're usually supposed to be 8 inches from the middle of this tube here, the outlet, to this middle of this outlet here. It's supposed to be about an 8-inch span, but they're not always 8 inches. They're not always installed perfectly. So nowadays when you go to the store to buy a replacement for this, what they've got is the type of outlet which is able to expand and contract. So like for example this one here, it's able to get installed anywhere between 7 inches to 9 inches here in the span. So if you have something that's not perfectly 8 inches across, you're still able to work with it. Just make sure you buy a faucet that is able to accommodate that. You'll see when I'm installing how that works. Alright then, so let's get started. The first thing you want to do is turn off the water. Unfortunately for this output here, the water output, I don't have a place to turn off this specific outlet. So I'm going to have to turn off at the core, turn off all the water that's going into the house. So I'm going to go ahead and go outside and do that now. Alright, so I'm outside in the front of my house and we got a few tubes here, or a few pipes I should say, and this pipe here is the gas pipe. And this one is the water pipe. It comes in from that down there like this, goes through this area and down into the house like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the water from here. So just kind of turn it. There you go. Now all the water should be off. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the water here. There we go. As you can see, no more water is coming out of the pipes. So looking at this faucet here, this is all one piece. Same on this side. This nut and the rest of this body of the faucet is all one piece. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to remove these two nuts, get this middle part out, then I can spin this whole piece around and off of the piping back there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start off over here on the right side. So it's coming off fairly easily, but it's still a little bit too tight for me to remove with my fingers. And keep going. Alright, there we go. Now it's quite loose. So this part's out now. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Alright, so the next step is to get this middle part out. Since these two sides are loose and moved away, it's a bit of rubber here on this side, but it's alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually tap this until it shifts over to one side and I'm able to take this middle part out from inside there. There you go. As you can see, now it's free from this side. So now we could go ahead and spin this whole part around as well as on this side and get these two sides out. By the way, all these tools I'm using and I'm going to continue to be using, I'll put the links to these tools. I buy a lot of things from Amazon, and 90% of the stuff I use that you're going to see me use in this video are from Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and put some Amazon links in the description of this video, so if you guys are interested in any of this stuff, just look there and you'll find the exact same thing I'm using to do this job. Another thing is I'm going to do a lot of work around the sink and a lot of work around other house improvement items, and if you guys are interested in this sort of videos and you find it helpful, please subscribe. There's more videos to come. Also, by subscribing, you're helping me out and supporting this channel. So let's continue. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove the left side. It's on there pretty tightly. So I'm gonna hit the wrench with this mallet a few times, try to get it free. Getting there, still pretty tough, and keep hitting it. It's getting looser. Now I could do it by hand. Yikes. Really dirty in there. Hit it softly, you know, don't bang on it too hard, just keep hitting it, it'll eventually break loose. There it goes. Alright, since this is so dirty, I don't want to just slap on the new faucet over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire scrubber, try to get as much of this gunk off of there. There's also old plumber's tape still stuck on there. You want to get all that out of there so that you don't create leaks so the water doesn't have anywhere to come out from. When you're doing something like this, just keep your cool, take your time. As long as you do it right is really what matters, because you don't want to take the whole thing apart later on. Apart from cleaning the outsides, I'm also using this tube cleaning brush to clean, as much as I can at least, the insides of these. Just kind of scrub up all the gunk that's inside, at least as much as you can. So the hot water side is actually quite rusted, and it still looks pretty bad even after I brushed it with the wire brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this attachment, drill attachment, and see if I can knock off a little bit more of this rust. Looks like it is working a little bit, but I don't want to do it too much, because then what it'll do is it'll just make the threads dull. So I'm just going to do just a little bit, just to knock off a little bit of this rust. Alright, I think that's good enough. I want to get it nice and clean. Any particles, just get it off the tube there. Alright, so let's open this up and see what we've got. Oh great, so they gave us these new flange things that you put up against the wall to make it look nice, cover any gaps. I'm definitely going to use these because mine look like crap. Some rubber O-rings. Here's the main body of the faucet. That extending the faucet head part. Also, it comes with an aerator, which I am gonna have to remember to remove when I first turn this on, so all that gunk and crap comes out before I put this on, so that it doesn't just clog this whole thing up. Alright, that's it. Nice and simple. So let's take this out and take a look at it real quick. Now, if you're one of the lucky people who have exactly 8-inch span between these two tubes, you can just install this as is, just like that. However, if you're like me and yours is like 7 3/4 span or something like that, you're going to need to use these adapters on both sides. There's 2 of these in the box. And what you do is you put this on first, and you can see that it just kind of allows you a little bit of movement left and right, so that if it's not exactly 8 inches, you can still accommodate for that, even if it's more or less. So this one's going to be 7 to 9 inches it'll be able to handle. So let's get going. Now, before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and take this flange part out and put it in one of the new ones. There we go. I'm not too worried about what's going on behind it. This wall needs to get repainted anyways. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put in the adapter onto these first before I put in the faucet. And they give us 2. and they're both exactly the same. So it doesn't matter which one you put on the left and the right. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the left side. Once again, make sure this is all nice and clean to prevent leaks. Now what you want to do here is you want to put in some plumber's tape. You can get this from any home improvement store that's near you. You could get them online too, but really just they sell them everywhere, so you don't really have to get them online. Alright, so once you got that on there, go ahead and start putting in the adapter. Make sure it's going in easily so that you don't cross thread. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and get my wrench and get it on there snug. Alright, so I'm going to stop here. What I'm going to try to do is match up the both sides with this angle and make it look nice. Alright, so I'm putting in the right side now. Go a little bit more. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check to see how it fits. Almost. I went a little bit too far, or not far enough with this one actually. So I'm going to go a little bit further on the left side. Right about there. Let's try it again. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit more on that side to bring it closer to the right. Right there. Yep, that feels about right. It looks like it's going in evenly. Alright. So before we can put this onto there, they gave us a couple of rubber O-rings. I'm going to go ahead and put those inside of these first. It doesn't look like it matters which direction you put it in. They're flat O-rings. So just stick them in there. I like to make sure they go all the way to the back. The other side as well. There we go. So now there's no need to put any of the plumber's tape on this since they provided the O-rings and it works with O-rings, so that's gonna prevent the water from leaking out. Once you got it nice and hand tightened, you want to get the wrench and just kind of make it snug. Don't over tighten it, just make it snug so that it presses up against the O-ring well enough. Normally, if you don't want to scratch anything or whatnot, you could put like a little bit of a sort of a towel over these while you work on them. I'm not too afraid of scratching it up, but I'll go ahead and put a towel over it just in case. Alright, so I went ahead and put this towel over it, so when I'm tightening it I don't scratch up the chrome. So you just want to get it hand tight only, and then just make it a little snugger with the wrench. So this side's good, now the other side. Should be nice and tight. If you see that it's leaking, you could go back and tighten it some more. But don't over tighten it, you'll just kind of mess up the rubber O-ring that's inside. And it just won't hold the water right anymore. So that part's good now. We're done with the hard part. Now the next part would be to install the head part of the faucet. So let's get that out. Alright, so let's see what we can see here. Got a couple of O-rings. Spacer thing here. Cool. And we got this guy to tighten it into place, so it's just going to squeeze it all in, and the O-rings will do their job and keep the water from coming through. It looks like this one is it's going to be a hand tightening only. Don't use a wrench on this, unless of course it leaks, then you can try to tighten it a little bit more, but hand tighten it. Make sure it's all the way down and snug before you start tightening this top part. So you can lift it, make sure it's all the way down and snug. Like that. Go ahead and tighten it. Alright, so now it's nice and tight. Yeah, moves freely. It looks really nice. I like how much room it gives me now. I can go ahead and fit large things in here without hitting the tip here, so that's all good. Also, this one protrudes out a little bit more, so that's also good because the older one didn't stick out as much, and it was always around here somewhere, and I really had to try hard to get the water to go this way and cover this whole area. So that's good too. That's another good thing about this. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the aerator now and run the water a little bit and get all that gunk to come out before I put the aerator back on. So this should be just hand tightened. There you go, just pops right off, or screws off I should say. There's a little O-ring in there, make sure you don't lose that. That's it, and that's what the aerator looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and put the O-ring back inside so I don't lose it. Alright, let's go turn the water back on. Alright, so we're back outside in front of the house. I'm gonna go ahead and push this lever back to the right. There you go. Alright, so now that the water is back on, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the water here. There we go. I'm gonna turn both the hot and cold water on. Alright, that should be enough. Now the reason why the water was running like that, just kind of crazy, and it wasn't coming out smoothly, it was that's not how this faucet works. The only reason it did that is because there's no aerator on there, so the water isn't being aerated, or oxygen isn't going in and mixing into it, so it's coming out hard. So once I put this back on, you'll see that it's going to be nice and smooth. So now that all the gunk and all the stuff that was stuck in the pipes got out, I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy back on. Just hand tighten it. Make sure the black O-ring is in there. All right, now that the aerator is back on there, you're gonna see that the water is gonna be much smoother. It's not just rushing out of there like before. And so that's a success. Thanks again for watching this video. Please subscribe to help support my channel.